Since nothing came out this week that I really want to talk about, other than maybe Transformers Lost Light number 11, which if you're a Transformers fan and you haven't read it yet, you're in for a story. I like it, but I don't think there's a lot of people that talk about Transformers right now. Maybe I'll do it if someone asks me to. But instead, me and Domo are going to talk about a few things. It's a beautiful day here in the dungeon. Nothing else came out that I want to talk about today, so time to talk about why I got into comics. My name's Dub, Great Canadian Neckbeard. So anything you'd like me to drunkenly rant about, ooh, already got a buzz on, feel free to let me know. So, I was lucky. I was one of those kids that learned to read really fast to make up for the fact that I'm still terrible at math. And comic books is one of the things that got me going. So I was born in 75, started reading in 79-ish. Everywhere I went, someone always had stuff like Archie comics, or stuff from Harvey, Hot Stuff, Casper the Friendly Ghost, Richie Rich, that kind of stuff. And they were fun. They were fun to read. I also read a lot of comic strips in the paper, and it was fun. It was something I wanted to do. Somewhere in this, probably way my storage room, or that way somewhere, I still have some of the painfully terrible things I did and thought were good. Because when you're starting out, you think you're doing okay. And it takes a long time for reality to kick you in the head and tell you, no, you're not. Now, at the time, I knew who Superman was and who Spider-Man was. That old Spidey cartoon from the mid-'60s. That was on the air. Superman was a movie. I want to say Super Friends was on the air as well. So I had some idea what some of the DC heroes were. But beyond what showed up in Spider-Man, I knew nothing about Marvel. I knew absolutely nothing. I hadn't read maybe an issue or two of Cracked where something would carry over from one issue to the next. Back when Cracked didn't suck absolute ass. And in the 80s, a wonderful thing happened. This guy showed up for Christmas. I opened him 6 feet that way. Because I live in the house. I own the house I grew up in. So there's a lot of memories all over the place. These guys came on the TV. They were awesome. I loved them. This is the second one I ever had. My Starscream is around somewhere. Someday I'll find him. There's a 32-year-old toy. And it did not age well. It did not age well at all. But one thing it did do was it got me to look at something on a spinner rack. Now, if you, if you are easily bothered by sights of gore or things of that nature, please turn away now. Right here is what's left of Transformers number 8 that I pulled off of a spinner rack in 1985. Yep, right there. Transformers, Volume 1, number 8, September 1985. 10 and a half years old. I bought this, and it was the first time I realized the comics had stories that carried over from one issue to the next. It was amazing. Hang on a sec here. Yeah, it's recording. For some reason, it took the same to work. It dawned on me that there was a whole universe going on in here. And that's where comics started for me. I dragged this thing back and forth to school in a backpack. Cover fell off. I was 10. It was 1985. I didn't know there were shops that sold this stuff, that I could have bought bags to protect them. This was an alien concept to me. I have, fortunately, since managed to accumulate versions with covers. So this isn't completely and entirely a mess. I got introduced to a world where characters grew over time. Awesome things happened. And because of these, let's just grab one here somewhere, roughly around the time where we're at. Let's grab what's left of number 16. Marvel. Ads for stuff. All these other comics. Yeah, Care Bears. I think I might still have one of them. All these other comics they advertised in here. And I decided one day, when I was 13 or so, to try one of them. Well, again, you are bothered by things in terrible condition. Please look away. We have here is what's left of X-Men 235, my first step into the Marvel Universe. The cover's taped on because I was 13. Still didn't know there were comic shops. I didn't know I could go buy another one. This is all smashed up, riding around in the bottom of my gym bag. This is Rick Leonardi. He's one of my favorite artists. I love it's not like the economy of line, the way things flow, right? There's no CGI here. It's all done in beautiful 4-tone color. And I met this guy. This knucklehead right here. And, oh boy, I like the X-Men this much. It's back in here. Someday I need to replace that other issue that's getting all torn and shrapnel back there. I liked the X-Men enough that we're all way back to Inferno. My hairy arms. So this is, go all the way back here. Remember, back when X-Men was so good, they reprinted early issues. So number 5, this would be, what did they start in, 98? This would be issue 103. I don't have any of the really old stuff. I wish I did, but I don't. You go from there, all the way back here, 544. There's a handful of them missing in here. I don't have the whole thing. I honestly wish I did. The Uncanny version was the X-Men I grew up with. Didn't get a lot of the original 5 stuff. Learned to like some of them through here. Definitely more of a fan of the line up front canny. I liked Wolverine enough that I was really pissed off when someone stole the other 15 that came before this from me. I don't know what happened to them. Whoever got them, I hope you spent a lifetime stubbing your little toes onto things, constantly losing your keys, and never getting a hamburger served the way you wanted it to, because god damn it, you effing deserve that. All the way. Somewhere in all this mess is the Death of Wolverine stuff, which I was not happy about at all. Marvel killing my hero off really soured me on a lot of things. I know they kill guys off, they bring them back. I know Wolvie's coming back. Still kind of peeved that it took him away. But in that intervening span of time, like, I stopped buying comics for real after a little ways after Civil War 1. But Civil War 1 was enough fun that it got me buying Daredevil, Iron Man, Captain... It got me buying a bunch of these regularly for about a year and a half. Where I live here in Podunk, we haven't had a comic shop since the turn of the millennium. my nearest comic shop is 2 hours and change that way in Edmonton. Which means there's no going to the store every week for me. There just isn't. Could have got some subscriptions, but at that time, Marvel was introducing series and canceling series, and I wasn't sure what was going on anymore. There was like 3 different Wolvie books. I couldn't tell you how many different X-Men books. I couldn't keep track of it, and I gave up. I had to. I couldn't keep track of everything. I couldn't afford to buy it all. Digital piracy lets me read some of it, but I couldn't keep up my hobby the way I wanted to. So, stopped. Which was kind of a big deal. Like after a lot of years and a lot of reading, wasn't buying comics anymore. Granted, I had money to spend on other things like a house, a vehicle, far too many DVDs, things like that. But that was kind of it's one of the things you walk away from, right? I'm getting back into it now. Still, store's 2.5 hours away. Ain't buying nothing. I refuse to buy electrons. I don't like buying stuff on Steam. Give me a hard copy any day of the week. I need to be able to hold something, to have something to show for my money. But one neat thing is I managed to luck onto a few things. Like over time, you pick up stuff that accumulates value, or at least it would have if I treated it better. Somewhere in one of the boxes, you can't see up here, would have been all 5 of the X-Force #1s with the different cards in them. A whole bunch of Image #1s. A bunch of things I sold off because I wasn't treating them right. Like, see here, Deadpool. That's the whole series of it. It's got a ding there. Its corners slightly banged. I could throw it on eBay for half of what I would get for a graded version, if someone would buy it. I'd do it in a heartbeat now. Like, I got a lot of comics. These beat up full issues of Transformers. This number 8 way back here in this mess with no covers. You couldn't pay me enough to take that off my hands. That's how much that means to me. But the stuff I've accumulated just over time. Like, yeah, this was a fun read, but I don't remember what's in it. I don't remember buying this. It's worth something. Ditto. Right? But had to go and check. Yeah, they're all. And the next, if anyone from our comic books is listening, which I highly doubt it, since they're a pack of cockfight and shit stacks in that sub, you want to tell me that I haven't read enough X-23 to think that Laura is as bland as dry toast? You don't get to tell me that. There's a handful of other X-23 issues in here. Thanks to aforementioned digital piracy, I've read enough of her stuff. This, as a replacement, Laura Kinney is the stick figure version of Wolverine. What does she do? She gets scowls. She stabs people. She's got a foot blade. Whee! No hobbies, no interests. That's it. Nothing. She's got nothing. And they call her Wolverine. Slightly choked about that. This one here? Yeah, nope. This had a bang down in the corner when I bought it. Want any of this stuff? Let me know. God, I'd love to get rid of some of this junk. Bought Suicide Squad, figured I'd give it a shot. It was fun. It was fun for a while. It really was. I'm missing number... Which one am I missing? 8. I'm missing number 8. Some of these are worth something. That one never came out of the bag. No, it came out of the bag from the reader once. That. That was fun, but I have a trade paperback. Don't need the original. Wedding of the Century coming up. It's going to be Petey and Kitty. I'll ask to check. This was the Wedding of the Century. I liked this book. This was great. This is one of those ones I wouldn't give up. This was a fun read. I was happy for it. Got In Time. I picked up all kinds of weird off-brand stuff. Classics. Don't ask me what I was thinking when I bought that. Classics. Classics from Ripoff Press. Good things to have. Fun comics. That dates itself, doesn't it? Another case, if it was acceptable in the 80s, or at least the 90s. I should drag a bunch of these viciously bad old things out and review some of them. They're absolutely terrible. I've got 6 other things with the same alliterative title, and they're all hilarious. What you could get away with in parody. Lycra Woman and Spandex Girl. The book sells itself, doesn't it? And even though I know Mr. Van Scriver doesn't watch me, even though he doesn't watch me, I let him know I've got these. These were fun things to have. Someday I'll meet him. I'll get him to sign them. There's more stuff I'll never get rid of. But after a while, it kind of occurred to me, like, there's so many. There's so many things. Like, yeah, that's a silly storyline. It's a fun storyline. There's not Wolverine being not Wolverine. Remember that? A lot of people do. They weren't happy about it. They weren't happy about it at all. Advertising supplement to the Dallas Times Herald. Whatever. Spidey. Started reading. I picked that one up and then started reading the rest for a while. Not a huge Spidey fan. Anyone? Questions? My devotion to the Green Giantess that is She-Hulk. Eat my fat ass. One of my favorite characters. Marvel was destroying her with this Depression Quest version of her. Don't like it at all. Oh, yeah. In terrible case. In terrible shape, but it's fun to have. And I got all this out, and it hit me that this might look like a lot of comics, but there are people with just rooms full of comics. Far more than I could ever have afforded. I look at this and I think, oh, this is a big collection. That's nothing compared to some people. And it hit me that it's not how many comics you have. It's not the monetary value of the comics you have. It's how much what you have means to you. How much of all this you remember, you think back. Like, what happened in this one? Right? Do you know what happened in this one? That's Starscream caught a chunk of the underbase, and he's wiping everybody out. I think. The other one no, it's the one where they woke up Prime. They woke up Primus. See? I have to reread these things. These guys, I'm keeping them. These will go with me. Someday I'll replace all the damaged ones. The old X-Men comics, the ones that got me into this, those I'll have forever. I go through this, there's stuff that's just, like, I can't figure out why I even have sometimes. You know? There's things in here. Well, I've got that one because there's an annual that tied into something else. What's this? This is Superboy number 11 with no cover because my mom worked at a convenience store back when they used to tear the covers off. Did it get me into Superboy? No. Didn't get me Superboy at all. Oh, wow. That's one of the most 80s pages that have 80'd. Didn't get me into Superboy at all. Art's not bad. Story wasn't. Yeah, just didn't care. Oh, weird. Deadpool joins Hero for Hire. Put that in my Deadpool pile. Conan. God, this is destroyed. How much of a consumer whore I was. William Shatner's Tech. God, it's terrible. 3D Robotech. Lost the cover. I might have a guy for glasses around here somewhere. It was an interesting read. But all of this, I could probably lose half of it and not care. Because I've bought it without even thinking. I'll hang on to it. I have a hoarding problem. I have to hang on to it. But all of this played such a part in my hobbies. And all the things I wanted to do. I wanted to grow up. I wanted to work at Marvel. I didn't think I was good enough. Have you seen what Squirrel Girl looks like? What some of those... Why did I give up? Holy shit. May have to start trying that again. But I've rambled on long enough. As always, you want me to ramble about something else and get drunk while I'm doing it? Let me know. See what I can do. And hopefully next week something interesting will come out that I want to get mad about. But I'll see you then.